So now that I have where the eye is looking, I can focus on getting the actual expressions in. Now if I look at my reference, I'm starting like in here. There's definitely kind of a look of, like, what is, are you serious, kind of thing. And then one of the things you're looking for in visual animation and animation in general is looking for those contrasts, those moments where you can have actions be kind of the opposite of each other, so that you're getting bigger movement and more feeling. So really, so there my eyes are kind of down, really, and then they're going up for autograph base, and then down again ball. So if they're here, if they're down, up, down, then maybe for that expression, having them be a little more up, so that way they have somewhere to go down to, would be a good idea. So if we go in here to the controllers here, so I'm going to start with him being just a little lower, something like this. And then, so right before here, before he says really, letting the eyebrows be higher here, and the inner brow up, that has a little bit of that contemptuousness to it. So this eye up, and the middle brow more down, that kind of thing. And we can have the eye anticipate in the opposite direction. So I'll copy this key, say to 3, and have it go down first. Like that. Same thing here. Copy that, say to 4, or 4, so that it's not on the exact same frame. But let that go down a little. And then I can slow in up here. If I just go to, say, frame 11 and move it back to 10, and then here, 10, and move it back to 9. And then now it's going to go down for really. So the expression for this is going to be really down. And I can go in here and I want this. Obviously I don't want it to be broken, but I do want it to be a low pose, like this. The same thing here, bring it down, bring the outer up a little bit, and then the inner up a little bit, and mid down a little bit, something like that. And then it's going to go down. So what I'll do is I'll key this and do the same thing and giving it a little anticipation of it going up first before it goes down. And so obviously I don't need that middle key there anymore. Now I'm going to be way slowing down into this. So I'll go to, say, frame 32 and key it back to like 27. So it's really slowing in. But on this frame where it was here before, I'll let it go up a little bit as an anticipation to the down move. Really do the same thing over here. I'm going to copy this key a couple frames over, maybe one more frame over than the previous one. Don't need that key anymore because I'm going to shape, because I already shaped this down. So I want this to slow in, so I'll go to, say, 33 and key it back to like 28. And give this one a little bit of a anticipation up, like that. And then here, I'm going to have kind of like a big down, because the eye's going to go up. So I'll let that come like this, maybe go a frame forward so it's not happening on exactly the same frame, and same thing here. Give this a nice big down before it goes up. And then here it's, so here it's big It's going to be really high. So I'm going to push this basically as much as I can. And then, like, starting with the out, take the higher, take this one higher. By having that like nicely up there, and then this one, same kind of deal, up, but maybe this one has a slightly different shape and it's not quite as high. So it's more bent in the opposite direction, so it's not too twinny. Okay, so that came down, and then obviously it's going to be anticipating way up sooner. So again, same deal. I can grab both these guys, go say here to frame 55, move that back to like 52. And then now here they're coming down again. So let's bring them down. Now do one at a time, get some nice shapes going on. This is a very sarcastic kind of pose. Baseball. We're getting a little shearing there in the eyes, so I can move them up a little bit like that. And then, since I, in the reference, do this and then have that same kind of attitude here, base, and then right before I do that drop there, I'll let the eyes come up a little. So as to give it another anticipation for the bigger down again. And then having grabbed one of these, I'll go into the dope sheet and like shift that over so it's not happening on exactly the same frame as the other. And then here, now by here the eyes are going nice and high again. Huh. Nice and big. Huh. And they're going to stay that high, you know, or higher. So that's coming down a little bit. So I'll, like from, say, here, I'll copy this to here so that it's staying up higher, and then now by here they're coming down again. Yeah, we're getting that kind of shearing. I'm just going to make sure to watch out for that. And then we'll, you know, there might be some tweaking for that for the, once we get the eyelids in. And now the eyes just kind of relax, like, huh, and then wait. So for this, the eyebrows again are going to come down, kind of a wait. If anything, it'd be almost where it looks like an angry, not exactly, but to give that sense of thinking. So have them come down like this. Mids continue to come down. Right goes up a little. Bring the inner up a little. And then the mid brow down a little. Something like that. And then same thing how I want to slow into this. So go say here to 123. Middle mouse click, drag it back one frame. And then I want it to, let's check it reference. And then so there is a moment there where I'm looking up and it's still like that, huh? And then it opens up for, really? Wait. So I could copy this with those three selected, copy this, say, to like 132, and just let it open up a little bit. Like maybe this actually relaxes now, so that we're getting a little bit of a change, and bring the middle up in order to show that change. But maybe also bring the whole thing down a little. Make it a little quizzical. And then, really? And then, so this is, maybe it'd be nice to have one side a little higher than the other. Something like this, like almost like a puppy dog kind of thing. Really? And we want to slow into that as well. So I'm gonna middle mouse click there and bring those. Really? And then there should be a little, like here on the change, we want that to come down and then back wide. And then maybe, so maybe at this time this one will be the higher. And this one we can bring a little lower, but keep the upper eye up. Let's do some difference. Autographed. And then here, if we keep this, and then maybe there, actually, I'm going to key that and kill the key after it. And then so there, that can be another accent. Get those guys up. Baseball. Baseball. Keep them up. And then here, definitely the eyes are like coming down where it's, you know, like a hard blink. Like that. And then again, nice and big. Hey, can I? And then this is like where we get, they're absolutely the biggest. I mean, you can move them here like this as well to really get that shape to look huge. Whatever controls that you have access to, you want to use that. In fact, for this, wait, I can actually move those controllers in on the X and really push that furrowed brow thing. That might be a little too much. Something like that. There, something here. That, bring it in. Roll. So here we want the an anticipation for the big open for 1. So we can bring it down again. Let the inner brow down. Still looks excited. We still want him to look excited, but serving it as anticipation for that. And then nice and big for the last one. This. And we can slow into that. Something here. Slow into that. Okay. Let's see what that looks like from camera view. Hide the controllers.
Really? An autographed baseball? An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
Cool, so that's looking pretty good. So now the last step for the eyes will be to get the lids in, which we will do when we wrap up. It's all in the eyes, creating believable eye animation. So now that we have the eyes as well as the brows, we can put the lids in. So when we're first starting, when it goes into this look, you get a blink there on when those eyebrows are coming down, so we can put a blink in here. Now he has controllers here. He has a single blink controller that operates both at the same time, but I prefer to use one and then the other. Now this character there's some eye shearing going on as a result of the brow. So I'm going to go to this and then just tweak these shapes until we're not broken anymore. So, if we had done the lids first before we did the brows, then that would avoid some of that. But at the same time, doing the brows first means that we have those cues already for what we want the lids to look like. So for here, definitely having that lid kind of a more down, kind of a like not believing kind of look. What we can do is we can go in here to the scene camera and play so that we're seeing it to camera. In fact, if we pull up the outliner, then what we can do is we can have those controls. You can have access to those controls without actually seeing the controllers and having those get in the way. So I can adjust the positions of some of this stuff. So here we got the eye blink, so I'll get the eye blink in here as well. There. And of course, I can offset that by a frame so it's not happening at exactly the same frame. Now I want the eye I don't want it to be too even when it's coming open again. So what I can do is go here to where it is open and then just one frame back so that it's slowing in. See the eye, because you never want to see an eye blink at an even timing. In fact, it coming closed also I don't want to be even. So I'm going to go here to frame 1 and scoot that forward to 2 so that it's slowing in and out of the blink. And then what we do is go bigger eyes here. So here's the not believing kind of look there. So we're going to keep that for a little while. So before it goes into that, like there with the eyes nice and open, then we can have those lids go kind of exaggeratedly open and the lower lids even a little bit. And then very quickly we'll slow back in again to the closed eye and we'll slow out of this eye so that it really is just something you almost more feel than see. And then for here, we'll have him go into an eye blink again. Copy that there. Maybe the eyes relax a little bit. That. And maybe get a little squinty. And slow into that as well. And then here I'm going to put a blink. I don't need to, again, fix those eyes, but we can do that in the polish. We can tweak the eyelids in the polish to get it to be, to not shear and change those eyebrows. But for the sake of getting this started and getting the big hoses in, then we can treat this more like a rough first pass. And then put there, obviously, yeah, nice and big. And we can bring the lower lids down a little bit in order to make sure we're seeing those eyes. So maybe, like by here, those upper lids are still coming up. And then by here, they're nice and up. So middle mouse click, drag a few frames back. And then now they're coming down into a, like, come on. Like that. Maybe even sooner. Like maybe here they're still open, and then we'll kill the E there in between so that it's like autographed, and then it's going into more of a, like, oh, come on. And then I'm going to key here so that they can open a little on base, base, base. And then come, and then here ball, up again, ball, base, ball. So almost like a little kind of relay thing. And then here they're definitely going in for the blink. Here, bring the upper lids. There, they're going to be at their biggest, so we can bring the upper lid kind of high. And then another blink here, like that. And then I think I like the idea that the eyes are a little lower, like, heh, and a little smug. And we'll fix that shearing in the polish. Have those eyes slow in just a little bit. And then what we could do is have his eyes go wider, just a frame before, like that, and then go kind of like that. So there's a little like a whoa in the eyes there. Whoa. Wait. Wait. And then now here, obviously, they're going to be going open. Like, I can't believe it. Wait. Wait. And we want, well, so we want them to be a little less than that so that we have somewhere to go for, really? So we can go bigger here, really? That, really? And then they relax a little. And then maybe so to here. Really? Have them slow in one frame. And then for autographed, big autographed. And then little. And they can actually slow out of the wider, so I'll go in this direction to slow it in. And then there again, open again for base. Base. Make it go a little lower again for base. And then big for ball. And stay kind of big. And then here, definitely going in for the blink. And we'll fix that shearing later. We want almost like a squeeze, kind of a blink. And big for hey. Hey. Hey can. And then small for hey can. Hey can I? Then I. Can I have? And then a little smaller for one. Have one. And then big. One. And then we'll do this. And going into slow, we'll make that the last pose, and then we'll still slow into that one frame. Now that we have both eyelids done, let's take a look at that.
Really? An autographed baseball? An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
Alright, so they're looking a little swimmy, like in there. I kind of... Yeah, like that. I feel like it's a little too much. So, it's not a big deal. We can go in here to the graph editor and go to that section right there. So, that's where that's happening. We'll just bring this in, have it be a little smaller. Oops. Have it be a little smaller than that. Same thing here. Let's small this up a little so it's not quite so swimmy. See what that looks like.
Really? An autographed baseball? An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one? An autographed
I think instead of having the open and close here, that it would be better to play it as a, you know, it goes up. So it's baseball and then back down and like that. And then into the blink. Just simplify it.
An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
Yeah, that's feeling way better.
Autographed baseball? Hey,
So same thing there. I'm just going to tone down that I down. So I'm going to go, hey, can I, whoops, hey, can I have one? See if that,
an autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one? Really? An autographed baseball? An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
yeah, so that's feeling pretty good. And then what I can do now is with both eyes selected, you can see here near the beginning, you know, I had this eye offset by one frame. And there's a general rule, which is a good one, to avoid twinning, having the eyes offset. So if I grab all these guys on that right socket and have all these also be offset by a frame, then now when I play this, it's still going to work because it's only a frame off,
Really? An autographed baseball?
but it's not as 20.
An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
Yeah, I think that's feeling great. So that's it for the eyes, and now it's time to move on to the next section, which is You Sure Talk Pretty, animating mouth shapes for dialogue. You Sure Talk Pretty, animating mouth shapes for dialogue. So now that we have all the eye stuff, we can go into animating the mouth. Now the main thing with animating a mouth is that the first thing I do is I get the big mouth shapes in. If you actually consider dialogue, if you like think about what your mouth is doing when you're saying words, you don't flap your mouth like a Muppet does. You know, you don't hit huge every single accent and vowel with your jaw. There are ones that you hit bigger and smaller. One thing you can actually do is put your hand underneath your chin and feel how frequently it actually touches your hand depending on what you're saying, and you'll see that it doesn't hit it all the time. So the first thing I do is I want to get the big openings in for the shot. So I'm actually going to, since I have a closed mouth, I'm going to go ahead and delete all these extra keys. So obviously for, so like there for, this mouth's going to come open a little. Now for really, that mouth is going to close a little. So for really, the first one, re, is bigger than the second one. Really. But the mouth doesn't necessarily even, the jaw doesn't even necessarily open twice. Really? Because a lot of it is done with the tongue. So I'm going to go big, real. And then just a little smaller for the really. And then just a little more open than it was. And let it go a little more relaxed, really. And then a little Now for that's going to be more closed, really Go a little bigger for that. So, really an autographed, an auto. So basically the jaw only opens once, auto, and then goes closed for auto, for ooh. So by here it's pretty much closed again for ooh and gur and g. And then big, graft, but not as big as auto. And then by here that's up for the f. In fact, I think that could be where the mouth is the most open, so that it has more time to get up for the close. Now for, notice I'm not doing the lip shapes yet. I'm just trying to get the big jaw openings. For any b, p, or t sound, or, well, not t, but b and p and m, any of the closed mouth shapes, you want to have that really pop. If you can, that helps sell it. So like especially with baseball, like b. So you want that mouth to be nice and closed and then pop open for the actual vowel. I know it's going to be closed again for this pose, so I can just key it there again. So bay. So by s, obviously, in order to make an S sound, the jaw needs to be closed. Nice big. And again, that's mostly with the tongue. The mouth actually stays open. And then here, we can let it go a little close so that we have somewhere for it to go on. With a huh. And then we'll let it go closed. And then here we're getting this inhale. So I'm going to let his mouth come a little open. And then it's going to close for w. Wait. And then be closed again for t. Maybe not quite that quick. I can drag that one frame. And then again for really, That mouth is still going to be small for Really? 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 So when if I say really slow, then I do open my jaw twice. But if I do it fast, like how I'm really speaking, really? My jaw basically only opens once. Really? Keep that closed. Close maybe a little. Not, ah. It's a big ah. And then, so again, it's going to be small for gur and o or og. And then graph, open. And then up for ft, graft. And besides, we want it to go big and then a little smaller so that we can go big again on baseball. If all four are big, then it's going to feel really flappy. And again, we want to be nice and closed on that b. Bass. Bass. And then closed again for the b. And I'm actually going to have the baseball so I can go real big on the ball. Ball. That. Ball. And then kind of closed so he has ball. You can maybe slow into that more. So I'll key that to keep it open for ball and then let it take a little longer to close. And then it's going to be a big smile with hey. So it's hey can. So hey can I have one? It's actually not going hey can. It's as if he's saying hey can. Hey can I? So it opens on the hey, is closing on the can, and then opens again on the I. Hey, can I? So that's going to be closed. Just teeth. Hey, can. Big. I. And then closed for v. And then still closed mostly for oo, and then open bigger on one. So big there, one. And then close for And then if we key that and then kill that one before it and let it be a slow in, so it's most of the way there. So like maybe make 202 to 201, or like 202 even to like 200. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So as simple as that seems, getting that jaw first means that now, before we go into the lip shapes, if I switch back to the scene camera and turn off the curves, just getting the jaw shape in the same way that we take every piece, you know, a single thing at a time, and go for the bigger movements before we worry about the smaller movements. Making this jaw feel like it's hitting nice accents and everything is going to make it even better when we do actually get the mouth shape set. So let's see what this looks like.
Really? Autograph baseball? Autograph baseball? Hey, can I have one?
Yeah, so that's feeling really good. And so now we can move on to doing the lip shapes and finishing off the mouth shapes as we continue with You Sure Talk Pretty, animating mouth shapes for dialogue. So now that I have the jaw completed, I can focus on the lips. This guy has these lip controllers here, which control up and down as well as lip curling, stuff like that. I have created a selection set of just those mouth shapes so that I can quickly be able to grab all the controllers at once and set keys on them. So one of the first things I'm going to do actually is to go here and I'm going to kill all these additional keys because I don't want to have to keep fighting the controllers. So the next thing I'll do, I'm going to key the moments where I do basically want this mouth in this kind of a shape, which is pretty much like the B and P's and also the E, T, G. So something like that. That would be one. Graft. That's going to be more like an coming from an auto gr, go into an R. I'll key that. Let's see. Graft. Mouth closed. Base. Ball. Have it a little open there. Open. Wait. Really? Oh. Hey. Can I have one? And then towards the end. And then again for the closed mouth there, ball. So now for the B's, so for these B's, there are controls of getting the lip roll where I can really push that to really feel like a B. So I can and then I could copy that key here to get for ball. And then again, there's base, so 156. Key like this, and then here is the closed, and kill that key in the middle. Turns out I don't need it. Okay. Okay, so already that's looking better, and now the next big major one to hit is the ooh shapes. So wait. Really? Wait. So like ooh, right there, we're definitely gonna have an ooh. So I'll grab my little group there and make sure that I'm keying everything there so that I'm not losing the other stuff I had. Key. And this is gonna make me ooh. Wait. So bring those lips in. So we're going to bring that in for the weight. So that's bringing this mouth shape in. And then we just want to soften his lips to make them a little nicer. So bring this lip. And then there's give it a little bit of a U shape. Then there's also a controller to inflate the lips to give them a little ooh, that ooh. And bring back in a little bit of that, just soften that a little bit. And the jaw, it's already there, we could close that a little more to make it a little more ooey. And then go here, grab my lips, and then for any other ooh. So I'm going to key that. And there it is, 193.1. So I can put that in right there. And then we're going to want that same thing for the. So put that there. And then we can just move this over one frame so we have room to go from the V to the ooh with a 1. Alright. Okay, let's do R. Really. So I'm going to key here. And then we know we want it to come this lip, like this with the lip coming up, really, or something like that. Give the lip a little more of that fullness, really. And once that's inflated, that might be a little too much. Like that. Maybe a little less inflated. Really. Go ahead and grab this. Select save members. Graft. So 57. Maybe like there. And then there's another one, 133. Copy that to there. And then R again there, 151. Okay, so now we got the R in there, that's good. And then now we can kind of polish what we have for the rest of the time. So with that opening of the mouth, it's kind of like, I can't believe what I have to deal with. So maybe a little like that. Ew. Really? You're kind of like, really? And then in here could be where he's kind of going into more of a smile, like in the reference. Already, there's a little bit of a kind of a smile, arrogance there. So like it's already in here. We can bring that up. Really? then autographed. So on here, definitely that's up. I'll smirk. And so for that base, smiling, and that lower lip stays a little lower so you get that base. Ball. Ball. Let that lower lip drop a little. Ball. Oops. Ball. Get that upper lip a little all. If we have the lower lip, ball. Actually, for ball, we could have the ball, have the mouth ball, and that lip up again. But then back into a smile quickly. Like that. So for that, smile again. Huh. Keep that little smirk. What a jerk. Okay. And then reveling in his jerkness. But then, there for a second, so now this should be kind of down and like, wait, hold on a second, maybe I spoke too soon. And then, so by now he could, kind of a one-sided smirk thing where the one side's not quite as the other, like a, what do you know about that? And then, I think we need a jaw. Need a little bit of more open mouth for more with the teeth or tongue. Okay. Back to the lips. So for the we just also need to keep the mouth from closing the lips quite yet. Grr. But that can be kind of a smiling grr, like that, like on a grr. Yeah. And then this we can definitely be a smiling buh. Face. And then here going to more kind of a like a back to a nice big smile. There. Definitely a big smile here. Hey, can I? And nice big smiles here. And we could just go in the graph editor there and get those keys of that coming up and slowing into that. Same thing on this side. That slowing into this. And now, so there, I want to make sure that lip is in. So get the lower lip, roll it in, graft. And that's already feeling like graft because of the buh. Then have, so for the, if we want, we can bring the lip up, or just make that jaw close that much sooner. Have, and then v. And now that lip could be in. Have. Bring it up a little. Have. And that feels fine. So let's see what this looks like all together. Check it out in the scene camera. Turn off the controllers.
Really? An autographed baseball? An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
Cool.
Really?
So that definitely serves as a first pass for the lips as well, which means that we can go on to our last section, which is it's all in the details, putting in the final polish on fingers, hair, etc. It's all in the details, putting in the final polish on fingers, hair, etc. So now that we have a first pass of everything in, basically what I'm referring to as polishes, any of the stuff that needs to be corrected. So for example, going in and fixing those eye lids, for any moments there where we were getting the shearing, going in and tweaking the position of these in order to make sure that we're not getting any of those kind of issues occurring. Stuff like that. But it also refers to getting the finger animation in. So for example, we did the hands, but we didn't really do a lot of polish on the fingers. So this is an opportunity to do that. If you're working like on a feature animated film, like for a studio like Pixar, Blue Sky, or whatever, it's not at all uncommon for an animator to have, a couple of weeks or maybe even more to work on a shot, and that could literally be spending like 2 days planning the shot and figuring out exactly what's going to happen, and then a day or two doing the blocking, and then another day or two roughing things in, and then polishing, and then once they get to the point where the animation is, say for example, even in the state now that we have it in, where it's really actually playing very well and looking pretty, fluid, that, it is not uncommon to be able to spend, like a few more days or longer going in and massaging the, exactly the mouth shapes and getting it to just be perfect, getting the eyebrows to just be perfect, animating the hair, if this was a girl and had long hair, or if this was a guy and had long hair, being able to animate just all the tiny little details, the tongue. You know, we don't have any tongue animation in there, so getting the tongue in there to hit L's and things like that. So let's at least get like the fingers in so that we can, you know, obviously I'm not going to do a bunch of sessions where it's me, you know, noodling even the smallest details on this, but the least we could do is start to, you know, like get some fingers in. So I'm going to start with getting kind of a natural shape to the hand, and you know, we already have somewhat that here. Usually it looks nice just from like kind of a silhouette-y thing to have one of the fingers either be, you know, a little more out or a little more bent. I'm kind of liking the idea of it being a little more out, something like this. And then let's get in like the major, you know, points. So here, you know, if the fingers splayed a little bit, let's see, if we had the fingers spread out a little in order to be able to show a tad of that surprise, and then maybe even, you know, a little bit of straightening. Like so. Get the thumb reacting. We're not going for anything huge, but it's meant to almost be kind of a, and then maybe by here is when they would get normal again. So we can grab this key and move this over to here. So that change from the reaction, and we can slow out of that, so it, and then slow in again, so it's almost responsive, you know what I mean, like almost like a, just kind of more of a subtle thing that's happening in there. And then here, like, you know, on a kick like this, where the hand's going in this direction, so let's set a few keys here. So if I key there, where the keys are, you know, where the fingers are just kind of natural, then as it's starting to move in this direction, giving those fingers a little, let me deselect the thumb, giving those fingers a little bit of a curl in as if they're reacting to the drift there. And then there, as it's coming back in the opposite direction, letting them have almost like a little spread. You know, I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get the idea that you could, you know, give the fingers some fluidity by adding in little reactions like that. And then here, like same thing here, like, you know, there, those fingers, same kind of thing, could spread. In fact, what we could do is just grab these like this and go to where we had that spread, which is here, and I'll copy it to yeah, so even just having that again here, that same kind of little reaction, just gives the hand a little more life, like, right there. And then same idea there, it could be almost like a little spread. Wait. And then like this. And then they would, you know, maybe even become like wide there, like, you know. And then now here, obviously, now we're getting into a much bigger shape. So here we could let the fingers drag a little bit. Like that. So that they have a little drag. And even like on the bottom finger, you know, have the fingers drag in that direction so that you get that directional shape on it to be able to actually, you know, have even that reinforce the force of that. And then now here, fingers are, curling in towards him. He's gesturing towards himself. Like that. Thumb might be more out. Oops. Not sure I like that thumb out like that. And then fingers opening up again. Giving more of a splayed out shape here. Like that. Make it be spread. This. Maybe just the tips are more curled in. Maybe just the tips are more curled in. Something to give that shape. I think also here on there, I think that the hands need to come out more first. So like here, as they're coming up here, having them come out so that there's more of that feeling of it coming to the chest. Maybe then same thing on this side. Cue that, and then push it further here. That. Lead with the handle, or lead with the thumb. Hey, can. And now we're getting some gimbal lock. And that's relatively easy to fix. You just go in here and grab those keys and go here to Curves Euler Filter. That will correct that. I think I'll do is give this a couple more frames to get where it's going. Like that. Then let that slow in more. See.
Autograph baseball? Hey, can I have one? Can I have one?
I think even not having the hands drift as far as they are.
Hey, can I have one? Oh, hey, can I have one?
And then same thing with this one.
Can I have one?
But like that's as far as it drifts. And so now that we have that, then the last step too, in the same way that we offset the eyelids and the eyebrows in order to be able to make sure that they're not twinning. We can do the same thing with the fingers. So here, for example, if I take the dope sheet, and then here's the middle and the index. Right now there's all the keys and they're all, twinned. But if I grab the pinky and move that back one frame and grab the index finger and move those ahead one frame, then and when the hand does these kind of movements, there's a nice overlap there too between them. You could even potentially push that even further and have them be like by a couple of frames in order to give it a roll. And the reason that I leave the middle alone and move one in front and the other in back is so that way I'm not changing my timing potentially. Let's see, now we're definitely getting a nice overlap there in the finger gestures. And so, cool. With that all done, fixing the shearing in the eyes, adding the fingers on this side as well. Let's take a look at what the final result looks like.
Really? An autographed baseball? Wait, really? An autographed baseball? Hey, can I have one?
Now, this certainly isn't bad for about, 2.5 hours of animation time, but it's also important to remember that that's not just that time. There was also quite a significant amount of planning time prior to that as well. In fact, I think it's important to stress again how important planning is. As much as possible, it's really important to go in to animating knowing as much as you can about exactly what you want to do when, based on video reference, based on thumbnails you've done, so that there is as little guesswork as possible once you're actually in the computer. That once you're actually in the computer, you basically know exactly what's supposed to be where and when. And that allows me to be able to work a lot faster than if I were guessing in the computer. So again, for the amount of time that we've put into this, I think this is looking pretty great. Thanks very much for watching the tutorial. I hope that it gave you either a new or different way of looking at approaching how to animate a dialogue scene, and that you enjoyed it. Thanks very much.